سلام تخاتلتي فيستيفال سبورت إريترا أبزي عمت زيناي مانزا نقبرو زلنا ناي فيستيفال مقرب بمانزان قاليو خا بتاقوشت نقبران تقبر زلا قن حدا كابتي زمرسنا يو أرستي كعسو أقري نا إريترا نا تاريخ إريترا كمين نيرو انتاي نيرو بزبل سلازوخونا كابتوم حدا نفعات بلوزات تاريخ دسند تخليط لجام كعسو أقري إريترا تبل كلتا اديشن ناي قدمنا حدش اديشن جيرو صحافة نفوع تمرامراي سلازلنا مسانا حزناي سلازلنا خم كبور قاشا عديمنايو بتعمي مسكنا كا تخليط هابزي مسانا مسيخا محواسكا
يعني اللي تاريخ زي عصبية قد صلوا تاريخ سلازخانة نعوخ كافر معدامكم دعوخ قلد معدامكم يا مسجد يعني اللي
وبسم تاع كوميتي خا بتعمي كمسكنا مالسي تاع كوميتي بعد عند ميكائيل يمانة تولد كالوت بصوتنا بزلو أكليلو حوخا كوميتي فتيرنا ينازل نقبرو زلنا حجي كلنا بحبار زمس أنا يسلز خونا زياك كرسع أخوا خير دليله حجي مو أب تي قداينا نتومو مجمرة تخليط منيو حسر زبلنا كان قرنا مو لدحريو بتناي كعسو قرثات كنزارب
أول مجلس كل صاب نساء حسر بالكام مغلطة تدليل يا أسمرا توليد أسمرا عبوه خلاص درجة أسمرا مصدقه أمريكا تمهيرة أمريكا هاني أبالنا هذا حالات قدم حركها هذا عمر خم مجمر تاجمير خمسة عن حدا جميرة أبصر مكساس هاجرا وخالصيت دبركوت كي كمون كم صح مثلا كم حبرات من قصات مسينات نيشن يسرح نيره تقع خمسة عن شديشن جميرة تقع صورة هذا أصلا أو من صرح فيه بلعبنا سبورت مكساس بأمريكا بزح أقداس ترانيرني وصنقال صوتنا فينا ممكن حيث جمهور خلينا برابيرنا العدي كل تجزي بولونيا قرصو غانتا قرصو غريحنا حينا نيرنا كمان شو ديسن سوانا شمونتن كمون غانتا نيويورك غانتا واشنطن لن باسارن بوسطن ثلاثه خلنا بذكابي على امريكا لن ثلاثه جنا فرنورال وات بزح منقصعنا سبورت نقبرنا نحنا نقاسم درار تقادلت المشيت من انا خبرنا بعد شو دورنا او انا قرصو صوتاون كاينيرو
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing us to do this on Festival Eritrea North America for 2021. I'm honored to have with me 3 people that are going to be talking basketball, and we have them in timelines. First, I'd like to introduce Ephraim Mengistab بتقرينيا. Ephraim Mengistab كم تفلتوا اب إرترا كابتم نفعات قدامات تسعاتي باسكتبول زنبرن كعسو أقرن كمان بتعمي نفوع أثليت نبرة نفتوى إرتران بزحد فتوى زحبانو له أثليت كم زنبرة إفريم منقستاب نقع بنا حمس أخامس أنا بزي and then we have Diliet Halangai who's of course someone that I've known since he was very young and now he's grown into a big man and he's also been one of the people responsible for managing the Eritrean Festival basketball tournaments. So we'll talk about the tournament, its history and how it happened. And then we have Alex Lul, an up-and-coming coach at the junior college right now and also doing big things. Was one time a coach of the Singapore national team, helping out with the national team as a consultant, and also went to Eritrea and did some amazing grassroots work. So we're going to have all this information here, and we'll discuss basketball in Eritrea and how it evolved. So with that, Bitagrinya, or if you want to speak in English, come like FM. We'll start off with FM. FM تاريخ إريترا باسكتبول بحث إيرو كابتي الصغات فلتوق ميخاز نبرن كساب حجين كميو نيش ليرو حبريتات هبنا مجمرها introduce yourself صخا.
Okay, thank you Mike. أنا from منغست أبي بحال توليد زعبه كله عراق حمص طاوة MCA مالتي بز مخنيات زخا باسكتبول كجمر كله بلقنا بقول عاي كله ب MCA جميرة كان مبوتش فيلا مخاد مالتي. بزحات قلت ناي باسكتبول تاريخ قلت دخول بزحات قاتلوا ነዛ ዓድል እዚኣ ተጠቂመ ግን ኣብታ ሓፃር ግዜ ዝተፃወት ኩላ ድበዝሕ ግዜ ከዓ ተዓዛቢ ኮይነ ዝነበርኩሉ ክነግረካ ኣነ ኣብ 1979 ወዲ 15 ዓመት ኮይነ ስሩዕ ባስኬትቦል ክፃወት ጀሚረ ማለት እዩ ኣብ ሳንቶስ ትበሃል ጋንታ ኣብ ሳልሳይ ደረጃ ድሕሪ ዓመት ከዓኒ ወዲ 16 ዓመት ኮይነ ኣብ ቀዳማይ ዲቪዥን ኣትየ ማለት እዩ ድሕሪኡ ምስ በዓል ኣማረ በዓል ትካቦ በዓል ተክለ ብርሃ በዓል ሃብታብ በዓል መድሃኔ ፀጋይ ተክለ ግርማይ ዝበሃሉ እዚኦም እቶም ዝበለፁ ሓያላት ተፃወቲ ምስኣቶም ኣብ ንእሽተይ ዕድመ ምስኣቶም ክፃወት ጀሚረ ማለት እዩ ኣብ 80 ካብ 89 ስጋዕ 84 ስጋዕ 82 ባስኬትቦል ጥራይ ፃወተ 82 83 84 ከዓ ኣብ ባስኬትቦል ናብ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ምፅኣት ነይረ ድሕሪኡ ጠቕሊል ናብ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ኣትየ ማለት እዩ ኣብዚ ዓመት እዚ ከዓኒ ንሕሪት ጋንታ ኤርትራ ባስኬትቦል 3 ግዜ ንሕሪት ጋንታ ኤርትራ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ከዓ 3 ግዜ ተመሪፀ ማለት እዩ ንሕሪት ጋንታ ኢትዮጵያ ከዓ ባስኬትቦል ምስ ተመረፅኩ ኣቋሪፀዮ ብ84 ማለት እዩ ድሕሪኡ ንሕሪት ጋንታ ኢትዮጵያ ከዓ ብኩዕሶ እግሪ ተመሪፀ ከዓ ኣብ ኢትዮጵያ ከዓ ተመሪፀና ነይረ ማለት እዩ ብክልቲኡ ማለት እዩ ብኩዕሶ እግርን ባስኬትን ስጋዕ 84 ተፃዊተ ድሕሪኡ ኣሰልጣኒ ናይ ምግብ ድርጅት ዝበሃሉ ኩዕሶ ሰኪዕትካ ባስኬትቦል ኣሰልጣኒ ኮይነ ኣገልጊለ ኣብ መወዳእታ ዝወፃ ኩሉ ግዜ ከዓኒ ካብ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ናብ ባስኬትቦል ተመሊሰ ምስ ቺፖሊን ትበሃል ጋንታ ምስ በዓል ኣማረ ድሕሪ ምፅዋት ንስደት መፅእ ማለት እዩ ብሓፂሩ ታሪክ ናተይ ዝመስል
ቅድሚ ናብቶም መንእሰያት ምኻድናሲ እንታይ ክብለካ ኤፍሬም እቲ ታሪክ ናይ ባስኬትቦል ቅድሚ እስኻ ምምፃእኻ ከመይ ረኺብካዮ እሞ ድሓረይ ብሓፂሩ ከዓ እስኻ ምስ መፅእኻ እንታይ ዓይነት ምዕባለታት ከም ዝወሰደ ኣብ ኤርትራ ንእሽተይ ብሓፂሩ ትገዝእ ብጠላይን መፅኡ ዝበሃል እቲ ወረ ንሰምዖ ንሕና ግን ኦልሬዲ ፀኒሑካ ነይሩ እስኻ እቲ መድረክ ከመይ ትግምግሞ
ከም ዝበልካዮ ንእሽተይ ቆልዓ ኮይኑ ከም ተዓዛባይ በዓል ቦረፅን ፃወትሉ ዝነበሩ በዓል ፍፁም ፃወትሉ ዝነበሩ ኩሎም ዞም ናይ ቻምበር ኦፍ ኮመርስ ዝበሃሉ በዓል አብርሃም ፃወትሉ ዝነበሩ ቆልዓ ኮይነ ይዝከረኒ እዩ ቦቸፊላ ከይደ ክሪኦም ብሓቂ ከዓ ፃዓዱ ነይሮም እዮም ግርማይ ደሰልጥኖም ዝነበሩ ፃዓዱን ኤርትራውያንን ነይሮም እዮም ባስኬትቦል እዚ ሕጂ ንሪኦ ዘለና ባስኬትቦል ምስቲ ግዜ ክትወዳድሮ ከለካ እዞም ሕጂ ፃወቱ ዘለዎም ኣብዚ ንሪኦም ዘለና እቲ ፋሲሊቲ ስለ ዘለዎም ቁመትን ካሊእ ነገርን ስለ ዘለዎም ነቲ ባስኬትቦል ዝያዳ ይመልክዎ ኣለዎ እምበር እቲ ታክቲክን እቲ ናይ ክስታይ ፀወታ ኣብ ኤርትራ ብጣዕሚ ዝሓየለ እዩ ነይሩ ካቦድ ፃወትሉ ዝነበሩ በዓል ኣማረ መድሃኔ ተክለ ግርማይ ኩሎም ገልፀልካ ክእል እየ እዚኣቶም ንሕሪት ጋንታ ኤርትራ ወኪሎም ቅድሜና ዝፃወቱ ዝነበሩ እዮም ኣብ ኣዲስ ኣበባ ከይዶም ምስቶም ተዋዳድርቶም ተዋዲሮም ዋንጫታት ሒዞም ዝመፁ ዝነበሩ ሰባት እዮም ስለዚ ኣብታ ንእሽተይ ዕድመሲ ባስኬትቦል ኣብ ኤርትራ ብጣዕሚ ሓያል ከም ዝነበረ ክገልፆ ክእል እየ
ኦኬ ተመሊስና ክንመፅኦ ኢና ቦቾፊልያ ክትብል ከለካ ቦቾፊልያ ብጣዕሚ ፌመስ እያ ቢካዝ እሳ ደላትና ኣብ ኤርትራ ፍልጥቲ ሕጂ ኣሌክስ if you understand what I just said, Bochavilia, you have an experience in Bochavilia. So I'll jump from Ephraim so to make the conversation more interesting. Tell me about your experience in Bochavilia and what you did in Bochavilia, Alex, after so many years of generational gap.
So it's crazy. Bochavilia is literally the only court in Asmara that's like able for players to play on rim. People can dunk on the rim. People could do some type of stuff, you know? And there's just not a lot of access to anywhere else. And it seems like that particular place has a lot of magic to it too. You know, it's very, you know, the sun is coming out, they play. It rains, they play. You know, it's nighttime, lights on, they play, you know? And it's just a beautiful scene. I'm actually, it's okay with you, Mike. Ooh, okay. So I was gonna show you a video, but I can't like share the screen.
I can share. I can let you share the screen. Here, you want to share it? I'll give you sharing access.
Quick.
Okay.
I want to show you guys something real quick.
So
What?
share.
Go ahead.
You should be able to share it now with. Okay.
So when I was in Eritrea, I saw a lot of basketball. I did youth development. I worked with the higher, older guys that went to, Kenya and played in Kenya in the qualifiers. And, it was just, that place was just, a good place to just network and meet a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that being said, like, I really loved it, man. It was amazing. I had a great time. And I was just excited to just do more, So that being said, right, I think moving forward, I think the biggest thing that we can do now is continue to help, and continue to just bring more opportunity to basketball in Eritrea, So like, let me show you guys this real quick.
Are you able to share?
Let's see.
You should be able to share.
Yeah, I'm trying to share right now.
Okay. If not, while you're at it, Del, talk while he's sharing, talk a little bit about your experience in basketball and how you evolved into the Eritrean Festival, which we actually for many years used as a way to have basketball as being a part of our community here in the diaspora. And I'll say in 1994, Haile Abraham, may his soul rest in peace, one of the most incredible guys, good friend of mine, and I decided that we're going to start a basketball mini tournament. We started reffing it ourselves, and then things started getting involved, and then Tesfum Azgebe took over the whole organization, but it didn't last as long as you, and then eventually you came over and took over. So let's go past forward that and talk a little bit about the history of basketball in our community for the last few years.
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, rest in peace to Haile. I spoke with my mom a few days ago about this, and she just happened to mention it to me. And, living in Vancouver, I don't get DC news as fast as I used to. So I was pretty saddened to kind of actually find out about Haile. So yeah, rest in peace. I would say at that 94 junction, I was 12 years old, and I was just starting to come into my own, just learning how to play basketball. I started when I was 10, so 1992. I looked for a role model, like just, everybody wanted to be like Mike, and cool, that's easy. Everyone wants to be like Mike. That's the, perfect person to jumpstart your basketball, journey. For me, it was Hakeem Olajuwon. He was African. He played my position at that time. That's what I wanted to be like. But at that time, I didn't know any Eritreans that really played basketball in my neighborhood. I didn't have any. I grew up in a African American community, and as big as DC is, where I lived was just remotely. It was just away from that. My experience with Eritreans playing basketball is when I went to Tigrinya school in Virginia. So that's where I met all of my Eritrean friends that play basketball over the course of the next 10 to 20 years. So when I first found out about the festival, just to even have a basketball tournament, I thought, oh, this would be a great opportunity to meet more people like myself who have dreams of, possibly playing college basketball or even high school basketball at that time. I would say spending the next 6 years up until 2000 and 2001, the festival just continued to grow. The turnouts were the amount of teams that were registering just in DC alone. I would say we didn't start having teams from other states and other cities come in until about 2001-ish. Before that, it was just all local Maryland, DC, Virginia teams. And that alone, 8 to 10 teams. We had 8 to 10 team tournaments by 2000, which was great. And for me, at that time, I was 18 at that point. College basketball wasn't really an option for me because just knowing how to become a high school player, a college player, I feel like that takes generations of families to kind of pass that type of information down to you. Mm-hmm. My parents are hard workers. All of our parents are hard workers.
Right.
My dad could push me to play soccer, which I did at the beginning. but eventually basketball is what I love to do. But my father didn't have the experience with that. My mom was always working. So you sort of run into a situation where the resources in America are there, but there's no internet at that time. You don't know how to find that stuff. And if you did, it costs a lot of money. So I started changing my, my directive to, more talent scouting. Eventually I wanted to become a coach of some sort. So I just thought the best way for me to just get my, get my nails into the ground was to eventually start learning how to run the tournament. And that was from Tesfu. He taught me as much as I could about how to run, just the operations of it. I would say once I took over, the notoriety of the basketball tournament just started spreading out throughout the entire country. Started receiving, interest from teams from like Philadelphia, New York, Boston. We started off with just East Coast teams at that time. I would say by 2005, we had a team come from Seattle. We had a team come from, I think it was Houston or Dallas.
Toronto.
Toronto came and won a couple, I think they won 2 championships. And it was great. And
good afternoon, everyone. On this week of the festival, we have 4 great guests here with us for Eri International Sports and for the festival Eritrea. We thank every one of them for being here with us. Our first panelist is Eden Gebrselassie. Eden is based out of New York. Eden, would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, I'm Eri Gebrselassie, born and raised in Milan, Italy, actually. I think I'm the only non-athlete on this panel. I've been living in America for over 21 years and working in the sports and entertainment world for over 14 years now, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Eden. Next, we have Hermon, who's in Sweden, but is playing her sports in an American college. And proudly, I got to say, my alma mater. Hermon, take it away.
Hi, my name is Hermon Michael. I'm 21 years old and I play tennis. I play in college currently, and I started playing tennis when I was 4 years old, and we play 17 years now. And I actually played for Asmara University, which used to be Mike's University that I used to go to in college. And yeah, I'm entering my 4th and last year before I graduate.
Well, thank you, Hermon. And I'm proud to say that you're still #1 as we speak. You're #1 tennis player in the school. I'm very proud of you. And Samhar is another up-and-coming talent, good soccer player. I think played in the Eritrean youth tournaments when she was a kid. I don't think she remembers me from those days. But Samhar, I'm very happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your background. You're an activist, but also a sports athlete. So talk to us.
Hi there, I'm Samhar Solomon. I have been playing soccer for the past 13 years. I'm 17 now. I just graduated high school, figuring out my next steps on where my soccer career will take me. But soccer is a big passion of mine, along with activism.
Well, thank you very much. And then we have, finally, last but not least, Coach K, as she likes to be known. I used to have her come on my radio program many years ago. We used to talk about life coaching and things like that to empower our community. But she was also a former athlete, I may add, at Southeastern Louisiana, Division I NCAA, track and field. Take it away, Amlisset.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much. Yes, and in the Eritrean community, I'm Amlisset Kidane. And I ran long distance, mid to long distance. My favorite run was 5K. I still enjoy the 5K, and I am a professional coach now. I just really enjoyed coaching and decided to do it on the professional side.
Very good, very good. And what I'd like for you to do, if you can, Amlisset, is we want to see your face, because every time you popped up, the other one came up, but we can see you now. So in a nutshell, let's start off with what led you to get into sports? If one of you could take, Eden, you're on the administrative side. Why did you get into it? I remember when you were an intern at FIFA, you had communicated with me at that time, and I was very happy to see you go into FIFA and doing things with that. Tell us a little bit about your experience with FIFA from a bigger perspective.
Yeah, so I was not an intern at FIFA. I actually did the master, FIFA master. I earned the degree with FIFA. They have a very kind of elite masters in international law, humanities, and management of sports. So the reason why I entered the sports world is because, you know, being the daughter of immigrants, you know, your parents are very strict growing up. So I just always wanted to have some type of job that would have an impact. So when I moved to America, I thought I was going to go work at the United Nations or UNICEF. And I was in New York trying to pursue that, you know, dream after graduating international law in international relations with a minor in French in Virginia. That's why I know I'm Lisette. And basically I was on a bus going to my job as a waitress to make ends meet. And I met Joe Levy, and Joe Levy then in the 2008, he was the chief editor of Rolling Stone magazine. And, you know, in my personal life, I loved pop culture. I loved, you know, sports, but I never thought that that could be something that you can make money off of or something that my parents would be proud of. So I was on the bus. I recognized him from a TV show on MTV, and I started chatting with him. And 2 weeks later, I was working at Rolling Stone magazine. And I started in a rotational program. So I started in financing and licensing, then PR, and then marketing. And that job completely changed my life because it showed me that, you know, like what I saw growing up, which was, you know, like pop culture is not just fun. It's something that you can do professionally. It's something that you can actually learn a lot from. And it's a fun environment. And then on top of that, you actually have a way to change and impact the world positively, almost in a more diplomatic and seamless way, right? So like you don't have to get involved with like the United Nations and UNICEF to make the world a better place. And so because I'm a little bit of a nerd too, I then decided to pursue my studies. So that's when I decided to do the FIFA master. And then I moved back to America after graduating, and I started my professional life as a person that works in sports and entertainment.
Very good. And we'll get back to you because you worked with one of my favorite TV networks of all time, ESPN. And so we'll get back to your ESPN background. Herman, take us a little bit about your tennis background. Obviously in Sweden, the Eritrean community is very active in sports, and you grew up in a separate, not in Stockholm, but in a different city. Tell us a little bit about in a nutshell, you know, sum it up, your tennis background.
So I started playing tennis because my older brother was playing, and he started playing at a very young age, just like I did. And yeah, growing up, I was always seeing him practicing, playing tournaments, and I really enjoyed seeing tennis. So I automatically started playing and trying out, and then I started playing tennis, and I really enjoyed it. But while I was playing tennis, I was also doing 3 other sports, which was actually track and field. I was swimming, and I was doing gymnastics. And then I realized I like gymnastics and tennis more. So I kind of had to decide because I wanted to focus on only one sport. So I realized every time I had a tournament coming up, it used to be tennis and gymnastics always at the same dates. So I always had to make a decision which sport I actually wanted to compete in. And I realized very quickly that I always chose tennis. So I started only pursuing tennis. I stopped doing gymnastics. So yeah, tennis is also what brought me to college. And after me, I have 4 siblings. We're 5. 4 of us play tennis. So it's tennis is in my family. Almost all of us played it. We really like it, and I can't imagine a life without tennis. So
it's great. It's great to hear. It's great to hear. Great to hear. And so we'll proceed with Samhar. Samhar, you're actively now playing soccer as we speak, and you just came back from UCLA you went on a visit, but you're pursuing your dreams in a college soccer background, but you also are an activist, and your background seems to be very amazing as a young woman. So tell us a little bit about the process in which you went to get to where you are.
So in my soccer world, I've been playing since I was 4. Like I said, my dad played soccer, my mom played soccer, all my brothers play soccer. Like Harman said, for me, soccer is a family thing. It's always been that way. We always have soccer tournaments, stuff like that. It's just it's just the common, I think what puts us a lot of my family together is we all have the common thing of soccer in our lives. Soccer's always been in my life since I was little. Every single summer after school was ended, like that's what I was looking forward to, was playing soccer, having soccer tournaments, soccer games, never something that really ended. With COVID, once that hit, soccer wasn't able to happen. There was a pause in it. That's where, like you said, a lot of my activism started after George Floyd was murdered here in Minneapolis. A lot of my activism started donation drives. I led a donation drive here in my city for people that were impacted by the uprising and by cities, like businesses burning down and stuff like that. So the money went to homeless places and encampments and stuff like that. So that was that pause in my life sparked something else that I was passionate about that I didn't really know too much about. Activism is now something that's a big passion of mine alongside soccer. So this past year, it's been kind of a juggle of both. But soccer has always been consistent in my life, and activism now too.
That's great. Great to hear from a young woman such as yourself. And Coach K, let's
Hey, Mike.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
This is like the old days.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I didn't start off in track and field and cross country. I actually, I have two brothers. So my whole goal was to be a basketball player, small forward. And I actually tried out for the team, all from my brothers and I being huge Chicago Bulls fans with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And we watched every game and all that. And so I said, I'm going to do like my brothers. I'm going to get into basketball. And I went for the middle school varsity team, and my brothers laughed about it. Like, yeah, right. They're not going to take you. You're not going to get on. You're not really that good. It's like, they're the ones who's coaching me how to play, but they're still like hating too. So it's so ridiculous. But anyway, I just, so that Eritrean way, I still tried out anyway. And I made it the first time. So I was really excited about that. I didn't feel like I was that great, but I just wanted to keep going with it. And then the next year, you have to try out every year. I tried again. And my brother was like, yeah, you're not gonna make it 2 times in a row. Like the first time was just like a mistake, like they just took you. But the second time I actually made it, and it was announced on the announcement on the school microphone thing. And he was like shocked, and I was shocked too. So I got on the second time. But then when I had actually took somebody's spot, like somebody else who had tried out for the same small forward spot, and she got really mad about it. And she pretty much threatened to beat me up. And so when I went to high school in 9th grade, I just said, like, I got to go try something else because this chick's going to come like try to beat me up. So I tried out for softball. And then I immediately, the very first day was like, this is not for me. And I ran across the field from the baseball and went across to the track team. I saw the track team over there. And I just asked, like, can I just try out for the track team? And the coach's like, yeah, sure, come on. And I did, and I was trying to do the spikes, like I was trying to get on to like the sprints. And he was like, I don't think this is for you. So I started running long distance, and that's how I actually got started. It all started with basketball.
بارناي لوم مدرنا عندهم غيرنا صوينا زلنا سبورتاوي بنيام سمعوني بيانا سمعون سوري بيانا سمعون سبورتاوي زبالكو اب مشكلتات رح زي كونس اب كله عينة سبورت لازم نتف اب بزح بوتاس لازم نتف اب كورس مكينة نتفيو اب مشكلتاون كم توادادارا يجميرو تحار اب أسلطانو خوينو سريحو أكايدو خوينو سريحو بزح بركتو سلازقبرة بوية سبورتاوي بيانا سموني ليو بيانا انقاع دحن متخابزا نايلوم مدرنا بشم EriXpress TV أزين أنا مسكناكا مساي أبزي مدب تقدادا ماي نبر اجخاء أب سبورت نهاجرنا بزح بركتو زقبر زلو بينيا مسمرلا شالو لذي حبابيرنا هنا تنكايدون زي على محتت ምናልባት ናይ ሎሚ መደብና ብቐንዱት ናይ ኣብ ሙሉእ ዓለም ዝርከቡ ኤርትራውያን ፌስቲቫል ኣካይዱ ኣለዉ ኣባና እውን ኣብዚ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ማለት ኣብ ዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ካብ ዕለት 14 ካብ ዕለት 15 ናይ ወርሒ 8 ማለት ናይ ዝወርሒ እዚ ፌስቲቫል ይካየድ ኣሎ በዚ ምክንያት ነዞም ገዳይም ተቀዳደምቲ ኣብ መደብና ዓዲምና ነዛርብ ኢልና ኢና ዓዲምና ዘለና ብዓብዩ ከዓ እቲ ናይ ብሽክለታ ታሪክ ክስነድ ስለ ዝግብኦ እቲ ምስናድ ክካየድ ፀኒሑ እዚ ከዓ ናቱ መቐፀልታ እዩ ስለዚ ከም መእተዊ ዝገይረ በየነ ብዛዕባኻ ምናልባት ድሕረ ባይታኻ ክንጅምር በየነ መን እዩ ዝብል ታሪክካ ብሕልፍካ ኣብቲ ናይ ቅድድም ብሽክለታ ዝነበረካ መዓስ ጀሚርካ ከመይልካ ጀሚርካ ኣበይ ትወዳደር ነርካ ኣበይነይቲ ጋንታ ዝብል ብኡ ክንጅምር እሞ ብዛዕባኡ ከተብርሃልና
እሺ እዚ ዕድል እዚ ረኺበ ኣብ ምሳኻትኩም ብሓባር ብዛዕባ ሕሉፍ ታሪክ ንክዘራርብ ምስጋና ይወስን የብሉን ቀፂለ ከዓ ኣነ ብ1967 ናቢለ 667 እየ ጀሚረ እዚ ከዓ ኣብ ጋንታ ኣቫንቲ ዝበሃል ነይሩ ሽዑ ግዜ እሱ ከዓ ኣብ ጉንዳ ማርያም ጀሚረ ማለት እዩ መጀመርያ ውድድር ከም ኩሉ ሰብ ብስምዒት ናይ ከም ናይ ገዛውቲ ከም ናይ ስታይል ከይካ ተኣትዎ ካብኡ ግን ቀስቀስ እናበልኩ ናብ ኣብ ዓበይቲ ጀሚረ ማለት እዩ ሕጂ ዕለት ኣብ 68 ምስ ዓበይቲ ጀሚረ ናይ ሜክሲኮ ምድላው ዝግበረሉ ዝነበረ እዋን እዩ ስለዚ ኣብቲ እዋን እቲ ብዙሕ ውፅኢት ክገብር ኣይከኣልኩን ምክንያቱ ኣልየቭ ዝበሃል ማእኸሎት ኣይነበረን ትኺልካ ካብ ኣቫንቲ ናብ ዓበይቲ ኢኻ ትሰግር ነርካ ኣብኡ ከዓኒ ተመክሮ ዋሕዲ ተመክሮ ነይሩ ትሬኒንግ ጎደሎ ዳኣልየካ ሰብ ዝገለ ስለ ዘይነበረ ብዙሕ ተሰናኺለ ካብ ሽገታ እውን ጥዒት ነበረት ካብኡ ግን ኣብ 69 ምስ ኦሊምፒካዊ የማነ ነጋሲ ማለት እዩ ጋንታ ጁኒየር ትብል ኣቆይሙ ምስኣቶም ምስ ጁኒየር ተፃወተ ማለት እዩ جيت بأتي بحر بايتاسي في بحر قصالነት ኣብ ጋንታ ኣፍሪካ خاني ፍቱትን ቲፎዞ ኣየ ነይረ ሓራብ ጋንታ ኣፍሪካ ምእታውን ዓብ ስምዒትን ደስታን ፈጢሩለይ ማለት እዩ ካብኡ እውን ቀፂሉ ሕፅር ኣቢልና ክንዛረብ ኣብ ናይ ኦል ኣፍሪካ ጌምስ 72 መጨረሽታ ማለት እዩ ጀጋንታ ካብ ዓዲ ጥልያን መፅዩ ንሕና ኣዲስ ኣበባ ተስፋ ልደት ሓይሎም ርእሶም ገረ መስቀል ስውእ ገብረትንሳኤ መሓሪ ኣርባዕተና ዘለናዮ ከዓኒ ኣብ ኣዲስ ኣበባ ስልጠና እኩል ስልጠና ጌርና ንናይጀርያ ተበጊስና ማለት እዩ ኦል ኣፍሪካ ጌምስ ኣብኡ ከዓ ከም ትፈልጥዎ እቲ ወርቂ ሜዳልያ ብውልቅን ብጋንታን ተዓዊትና መፂና ማለት እዩ ካብኡ እውን 73 ዕድል ረኺበ ዓዲ ጥልያን ክቀዳደም ኢለው መፅአ ኣብዚ ከዓ ቀዳደም ነይረ ሃገራዊ ስምዒት ስለዝነበረ ከዓ ነቲ ውድድር ገዲፈ ናብ ሓፋሽ ውድባት 75 ተመዲበ ሰራሕ ነይረ
ሕራይ በየነ ስምዖን እቲ ሽም ንእሽተይ ኣይኮን ብጣዕሚ ሓያል ረዚን ከቢድ እዩ ኣብዚ ሕጂ ክትገልፀልና ዝፀናሕካ ኣብ ግዜኹም ኦሊምፒክ ከም ዝኸድካ ክትገልፀልና ዘለካ መዓስ እዩ ኣበይ እዩ ምስ መን እንታይ ዓወታት ጨቢጥኩም
ሕጂ እታ ናይ ኦሊምፒክ ኣነ ኣብ ኦሊምፒክ ናይ 72 ሙኒክ ዝተገብረ ካብቶም ሕፅያት ማለት ተስፋ ልደት ሓይሎም ካብቶም ዝነበርና እንዲና ሕጂ ኣነ ኣጋጣሚ ኣፔንዲክስ ገይረ ነይረ እቲ እዋን እቲ ቅድሚኡ እውን ዓለም ምብራቅ ዝበሃሉ ጋንታና ብሓደጋ መኪና ትሬኒንግ እንዳገበርና ስለዝተፈለየና ብዙሕ ነቲ ውድድር ናይ ተኣሽሙስ ኣይ ድፋእናሉን ነርና ቁሩብ ፀገማት ነይሩ ካብኡ ተሪፈ ማለት እዩ 72 ግን ኣብ ኦል ኣፍሪካ ጌምስ ምስ ዞም ዝበልኩ ዝጠቆስኮም ብጅጋንቲ ካብ ኣጥልያን መፅዩ ንሕና ከዓ ካብ ኣስመራ ተመሪፅና ኸይድና ወርቂ መዳልያ ዓዊትና ማለት እዩ
ሰላም ተኸታተልቲ ፌስቲቫል ኩልኻትኩም ኤርትራውያን ኣብ ዘለኹሞ እዚ ንገብሮ ዘለና ናይ ማንዛ ፌስቲቫል ፕሮግራም ንኩልኻትኩም ታሪክ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ናይ ኩዕሶ እግሪን ናይ ስፖርትን ከመይ ከም ዝተጀመረ ኣብዚ ዘለናዮ ዓዲ ክቡራት ኣጋይሽ ሒዝናልኩም መፂና ኣለና ምሳና ገብረ ሂወት ኣብርሃ ካብቶም ወናማት ናይ ቀደም መስረቲ ኣማኒኤል በየነ ካብ ዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ካብቶም ኩዕሶ እግሪ ካብ ቀደም ኣትሒዙ ዝከታተል ዝነበረ ብዙሕ ኣፍልጦ ዘለዎ ታሪክ ምስኡ ከዓ ካብ ካናዳ ከዓ ዓብ ተራ ስለተፃወቱ ኣብዚ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ንክብረ ኣብ ወንድም ሒዝናልኩም መፂና ስለ ዘለና ነዘን 40 ደቂቕ ምሳና ኣብዚ ክተሕልፍዎ ንዕድመኩም ብገብረ ሂወት ኣብርሃ ክንጅምር ኢና መጀመርያ ገብረ ሂወት ከመይ ጀሚርኩም ናትካ ከዓ መን ኢኻ ገብረ ሂወት ኢልካ ንእሽተይ መእተው ይግበረልና
እሺ ሰላማት ኣነ ገብረ ሂወት ኣብርሃ በሃል ኣብ ኣስመራ ዓብየ ዝተወለድኩ እየ ናተይ ናይ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ምፅዋት ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ እዩ ነይሩ ንሱ ከዓ ኣብ ቤት ትምህርቲ ኮምቦኒ ተማሂረ ካብኡ ንላዕሊ ብዝተመደበ ናይ ኩዕሶ ፀወታ ኣይተሳተፍኩን ሓወይ ግን ተክለ ብርሃ ዝበሃል ካብቶም ናይ ኣዱሊስ ዝበሃሉ ጋንታ መስራቲ እዩ ተክለ ብርሃ ተክለ ኩርቶ ብልዎ ካብኡ ቀፂሉ ናብ ሓመሰን ዝኾነ ነገር ካብቦ ጀሚርካ ኩላና ስድራ ቤት ናይ ኩዕሶ ስምዒት ዝነበረና ሰባት ኢና ሕጂ ኣብዚ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ክንመፅእ ኣብ 84 ናቅድም ኣቢለ ንእሽተይ ናይ ኣትላንታ ክነግረኩም ኣብ 84 ኣብ ዝነበርና ውሕዳት ኤሪትራውያን ኩዕሶ ጀሚርና ማለት እዩ መጀመርና ሓደ ካባና ዝፀንሐ ነይሩ ኩዕሶ የለን ኣብዚ ኢትዮጵያውያን ጥራዮም ዘለዉ ኢሉና ከይድና ንሓንቲ መዓልቲ ካብኡ ኒንዮ ንሕና ንምንታይ ንሕና ዘይንገብር ኢልና ተላዒልና እቶም 4ቴና ጥራይ ናብ ሓደ ፓርክ ከይድና ምንቅስቃስ ጀሚርና እንዳበለ ዓብዩ ካብኡ ኣብ 85 ሓደ ቤት ትምህርቲ ረኺብና ኣብቲ ፓብሊክ ስኩልስ ከይድና ለሚና ሓደ ሜዳ ረኺብና ኢንፋክት ኣብ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ናህና ሜዳ ፍሉጥ እዩ ብኸመይ ከም ወነንቲ ኢና ነርና መፍትሕ ኣለና ካንሸሎ ከፊልና ንኣቱ ፓርኪን ኣለና ፍልይ ዝበለ ዕድል ኢና ረኺብና ካብኡ ንንዮ ኣብ 86 ብርክት ኢልና ቁሩብ እምበኣር ንሕና ጥራይ ካብ ንፃሲ ነዞም ብፆትና ኣብ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ዘለዉ ኤሪትራውያን ዘይነካፍሎም ኢልና ዕድመ ጌርና ኣትላንታ ማለት እዩ ጋንታ ኣትላንታ ዕድመ ጌርና መጀመርያ ንበክረፅን ደውልናሉ ሓራይሉ ካብኡ ብርሃነ ሳልቫቶሬ ናይ ማያሚ ካብኡ ንኦርላንዶ በዓል ተክላይ ዝበሃሉ ነይሮም ካብኡ ንሂውስተን በዓል ስቲፋኖስ ዝበሃሉ ነይሮም በዓል በየነ ዝበሃል ነይሩ እውን ናይ ቴሌ ተፃዋታይ ካብዞም ዓበይቲ ዕድመ ጌርና ንኣትላንታ ፀዊዕናዮም እዚ መዓስዩ ታንክስጊቪን ማለት ኖቨምበር 1986 ኣብዚ ዓዲ ኣብ ኣትላንታ ጀሚርና ማለት እዩ ካብኡ ኒንዮ ዘድሊ ነገራት ጌርና ኣጋጣሚ ከዓ በታ መዓልቲ እቲኣ እንታይ ነይሩ ኣደይ ደስታ ዝበሃላ ነይረን ዓባይ ሬስቶራንት ዝነበረን ኣብ ዋሽንግተን ኣብ ኣትላንታ ኮይነን ምግቢ ሸጣ ነይረን ኣጋጣሚ ፀበል ነይሩወን ሽዑ ኣብቲ ፀበል ንኩሎም ኤሪትራውያን ዓዲሞምኦም 5 ጋንታታት ኣብኡ ምሲና ንምሸቱ ከዓ ሓደ ንእሽተይ ዝበለ ፓርቲ ጌርና ማለት እዩ ምስ ተወድአ እምበኣር እንታይ ኢልና እዚ ፅቡቕ ነገራት እዩ ከምዚ ካብ ኮነ ካብ 5 ጋንታታት ሓደ ወኪል ዘይንግብር ተባሂልና ወኪል ጌርና ማለት እዩ ካብኣቶም ገብረ ሂወት ኣብርሃ በክረፅን ገብረ ሂወት ብርሃነስ ጎዶም ሳልቫቶሬ ተኣምራት ናይ ሂውስተን تخلاي كفلاي زبهالنا بأورلاندو زنبري حجي مويتيو وكلتو خينا مالتي وكلتو خينا حجي مبقار نحناس بزي توسينا انترفنينا كابزن كل ستيتس ناي سمين امريكا قال لك انه نسخ نقل لنا تباهلنا عدم ابزي حنا مالتي اذا خون كله انا بخرتين برهانه سلستينا اب اتلانتا نرخمنا قصرا غيرنا تراخيبنا نمايت نيرنا بسلستينا ون عند حقوتنا ابزي غزي زي برهانه سالفاتوري ميامي هذا كوبانيا نيرا سرحلا 800 نمبر نيرو حجي افتي غزي تخا موبايل بزح سلا زي نبره اتا كونتاكت نمبر ناتو غيرنا بزح تقيمه هنا تانا برهانه سلكي سبات ابو خدولو جميرا ندابلنا بزحنا مالتي بزحنا شعو مسترخبنا انتاينا امبار حجسي نبزح لنا درجة 10 بزحنا شعو نبزح لنا مو ابالات زم زكايتو اكايتي نوسخ تباهلنا ابرهار كاب واشنطن عندي كاب دي سي وسخنا مالتي وسخنا شعو تنقرات عند عمرن دابلصن كيدو عابب فيستيفال كخون جميرو مالتي حجي اريتراويان مرخب زتعمو من تاي تباهلو نتا نوفمبر ناب جولاي كنت خيط تغير اب سامر مالتي حجي انتاي كوينو سب اندابزها خمس مس جمره من اسات بزحات كموصو جميرا حجي انتاي كوينو زخونه يكون سب حتوتات ابزحونا عمتا بي حجي زم اريترا انت ام زغبرو نيرو مبزحتهم كموصو زمت كدليو عرك خدليو كواسبو بزي مسرت عابد نغرات غبرتلو زحقس انتايو ودن قال انت فاليتهم كساع لهم خندي لو ناولات زبصحو تمرعيهم حدار زغبرو بزحات كساع لهم لو دبداب يتصرفوا
واه
يعني لهم كساع لهم يدقم عبيهم
واه
الله ساحجي
بتعمي
ها
صبو بتعمي تي كمو يركانا كم زممصاخا مسات خير انت كبل حدا فيمس كمان سب كتفلطو دلي مبراتهم كفلزغي كابتم غويتيناتنا نبعلت بيتو نار يوردانوس اب كوسو اغري رخيبو اب 2004 اب سان هوزي حجي كم زولكايو بزحات سبات الله حجي سي تاريخ الله زنغر زي مالتي
بزحات انا لنا حجي دبدابيتات زمصه كاباتهم in fact تدحار زمصه تحاز ገንዘብنا هنا سامسونج زبالا بفرجينيا زلو كابو هيو رخيبو لا سرح خلو كاسير خلو لا تدما خلو سرح قبر نيرو
هو سامسونج يفلطه ومساي نيرو
سامسونج يفلطه دي
واو صبي
كاسيكو سبيت حيزو خيدو ودي
هو
سالومي بوسدرا هوينو ينبرالو مالتي
بتعمي صبو كمل سكاينا بابا غبري هوتمو امانيل ادلنا هبومو امانيل اسغاه كابي ناي شابتر خمسيخا بابا غبري هوت جيتي ابغاغسا بحصير غيرو تقللو نغيرونا اندي حجي خنقصلو ما انت غيزه كي وحدانا اسغاه ناتكاسي بمنتاي خاتبغيسكا واشنطن دي سي كابي كم زلخا يفلطي اب واشنطن كعبترا تصاوت ياب كل ነገር ناي سمين امريكا خون كولو ناتكا مجمريا مني خمانيل كانيش لحصر زبل ما تو يغبرنا
أنا أماني بينو بال سمرات وليد عبي بتمرتي صوت ميري كاو حليفة نات حدمي مساخله كنتات عند سلذي تعامل سدات أمريكا بتقال عليه بأوروبا نيرة سمين أمريكا واشنطن دي سي غاب مجمرة 8 جميرة أمت حج سكاب حجون أب فيرجينيا زمت سيبي اب كعسو اغري كن ملست خوينا هم تغبري وطاوسو دارغا مجمرتا فيز اجاوامرا نايت سبورت اب سفين امريكا صبو غيرو غري سولو نبزياده نتفتات ناتي واشنطن دي سي غن اب تورنامنت اجاوامرون اتلانتا نيري دحر اتلانتا قالوا بصحات بصوت منسيات مسايز نورلو ቮለንተሪና ጋንታ ኮይና ከይድና ካብዚ ንኣትላንታ ካብኡ ድሕሪ እውን ማያሚ 87 ከም ምስቲ ጋንታ ተጓዒዘ ከም ተፃዋታይ ነይረ ኣብ 88 ኣብ ዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ከም ኣድሚኒስትሬተር ናይቲ ጋንታ ኮይነ ሓንቲ ጋንታ ኣብዚ ዓዲ ዋሽንግተን ሰለስተ ዓበይቲ ጋንታታት ነይረን ግን ሓንቲ ምርፅቲ ጋንታ ንወስድ ኣለና ብዝብል ኣተሓሳስባ ከም ኣሰልጣኒ ጋንታ ኣብራህራያ ኮይኑ عند ميكائيل كم تكنيكو خوينو انا هم محدار خوينن يستن توعزنا لعلي تزيتغاغي لعلي حسش شغانتات تساتيفن كاب بلو سمين امريكا تزعابين دبلت صوتا زراخو اب سبورت ناي سمين امريكا اب هيستن تغبري كومن واشنطن دي سي تاواچ عبيتاتا مسيا تزعابيت كوبا بهيوتي زراخو شعا معناته وارجع بعد تسمعون كوبايم يومنا نفاريت ملئتين عيدنا على واشنطن دي سي كان هوستس كي ترافين غريمون تقولنا سبورتن بالن حدا عبي طرنافي مطرنافي هزواوي مطرناف زقله لما قدن هزبخا تحبعولن كترنفولن كتنقحلن زلو ترى عبي داينا خاب كومنيت فتات نتف نيرنا من سيادنا نيرنا شعو تمرتنا قريفنا خدنا اللوان علو معناتو مجمريا بتانكس جيفينج زي يزبر نيرو راي كتعم تباهيلو جولاي تغير مالتي مجمريا بتانكس جيفينج ويكند يزوال نيرو بريوت مبزحتو تغيس ويتي جامرا فيزاتو أنا بزيادة أب ذاتوكرولو سبورت بهلن عبي ترى من سياد كتر نزقل
صباح الله ثانك يو مانويل بحط صيرو جليس كان لها مسجارينا نقبر لنا هاتي ترانزيشن صبوي خير له حجي خا الدحري تي ناي سمين أمريكا عدتها بزلوا قرباس زنبرا بزحتي راخوانيرن كندا جنابتي سئلي توتن نيرا مسلني دحاري بعد الكبراب حيرتي كانت كاب كندا حيزوم لنا خمس جميرهم اب تورونتو خا استقبلنا ناي 9 شعاتن يذكرني بطعمي كابتي بلوص كوينو زراخو حدا ناي كوسو اغري تورنامنتي كبري خيلي ما ذكرتها لاني انا كمان كمان اسيناتو واني خيد نيره حجي كبراب ناتكا مني كبراب ناي كندا خاني ايش لي جلص ابلنا وخلخا
ثانك يو مايك كبراب ولي كيروس وندم بحال اسمرات وليد عبي ناي كعسو باكراوندي كم زي بحال قبل وقت ما سيلا بيت مرتن اب قبلين صوات نيره دحراي اب ستم سمعوا اب كندا بزح 85 شديشن بزح من ساعات متصمس جمره كم غانتا تعرفنا عن صوات جميع ماشي نفسي محرو زوانجل نغاش ازمارا ريستورانت فوتوسو اخيبون بجمره غزي اب هيستن ساتفنا مالي 88 افتناي ثانكس جيفن تقبروا كله ذكر نشعو نوفمبر كندا بتاع قرب برد كان ولا برد كنا ساعات فعلنا سواء براكتس يرنا قالنا خيرنا كان ابزق عند خمس كلهم دلي قبري وقت بقى كلام نبزي مع البخري مع البرهاني مع البرهاوية كلاتهم زياتهم تم مسرتي انا هم بتسخلنا شعو عصوت رايدر دعنا نيرو ساعتهم كان كاو حالي فوقتنا هاجرونت متكاب حجز كريا وأتلانتا براب قبل وقت ذكرهم سعرنا قليلنا ربش ذكر حجز صاروا من بخاليهم ديوان إحنا سنة قبل سعر لنا نبلد أنت عندك كافتو عصون العلي تي تفادتنا يو تي دحلفنا يا فقري حجزك أو أنت طيب لين زي كورونا أو طيب النمبر بعد قبل وقت قال أتلانتا مصروفنا أي all timers تقول هتصير الناس قاعد متشارشة نيو أورلينز كينا يرنا ولا حجي هوفلي كورونا مس حلفه أبكلتيهم ساعتين نخل نقول
بتعمي صبويو أنا خا دحريكم سعيبس لازم أسأخو بزح كابت تاريخن أبت فيدريشن كا درجة أسرع عمتي تساتيفه كم أبال فيدريشن كوينة كمان ب تناي كستاي كم public relations يسرح نيره حجين تاخذ لكم استخاتكم زجبركم مسرح نايب حكي كابتي كمس جند اللو بزحات من اسيات كمان ولا حجز مصو زلو ناخاتكم كمسجنوكم يقباي نمنتاي نحنا بكعسو بالسبورت جيرنا بزح ترنا فينا جيرنا بزح هنا تماهيرنا نباهلنا بزحات تفوق سبات كمان اللو نحريهم من ساعات because أبتنا هبرات سب زي ساتفو وين قداس زي باللوم سلازخونه حجي بأمخنيات أنا بتعمي كم أسكنكم يخيل أبتي تكنيكاليتي خا كم تصعاتي كم حدا ريكورد هلا كم جازيت إنيا خا أسلاز نبركو مبزحتو ريكورد تريوا أبو ناتاتكم زجبركمو حجي مستوم جبرتي كويني كزارو كله كصحفه كله كن حجي بزي مفلات نتسب يخاط صحون يركع حجي نتسب كتفلت كلها تي انفورميشن كتريو كلها تي تاريخ زجبره بتعمي يحقوا سكاي حجي بابا قبره هيوت مستر قبره هيوت كبلكا دد حريوخا اتلانتا مس جمرتو كمي عينت سمعتنا هاجر كربح كيلو زيناي سبورت بلو زلخا نيش اللي حسرا بالكاس قلصلا
هو زيناي
ابقال سوان سلزنبره هو ابقال سوان سلزنبر ناسي كمي غيرو ترى تصاويتو نيش اللي تزارب بزاو
حدا خفت عبيتي تراتات انتايو دحر نጻነት ኣብ 91 ብሉጻት ተጻወቲ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካን ካናዳን ሓሪና ንኤሪትራ ኸይና ምስ ሓሪት ጋንታ ተጋደልቲ ሓደ ክልተ ጋንታታት ናይ ኣስመራ ዝነበራ ኤሌክትሪክ ቀይሕ ባህሪ ገለ ዝበሃላ ተጋጢምና ማለት እዩ ኣብቲ ጸወታና እውን ፕሬዚደንት ኢሳያስ መጽኡ ተዓዚቡ በቲ ዝገበርናዮ ጉዕዞ ተሓጒሶም ድማ ሚኒባስ ሂቦም ክትዛወሩ ላይሎም እንታይ ሞ ብጽቡቅ ገይሮም ተቀቢሎምና እቶም ዝኸዱ ዝወሰድናዮም ተጻወቲ እውን ካብኡ ጀሚሮም ብዘይ ምቆራጽን ዓድም ማላለሱ ኣለዉ ቁሩብ ገንዘብ እውን ነይረን ዝኣከብናየን ኣብዚ ካብ ንሕዞ ገንዘብ ንፌደሬሽን ዘይንህባ ናይ ኤሪትራና እተን ዝኣከብናየን ገንዘብ ኣብኡ ገዲፍናየን መፂና ማለት እዩ ሕጂ እንታይ ኮይኑ ሽዑ ግዜ ድሕሪ ነጻነት ሓድሽ እንዲ ነይሩ ምንም ዕጥቅጣት ከማን ኣይነበረን ምንም ስለዚ መባራትዑ ኮይኑዎም ንሕና እውን ተሓጒስና ብሰላም ወርሕብኡ ብጣዕሚ ተሓጒስና በቲ ስድራና ርኢና በቲ ድማ ሓደ ዓይነት ተልእኾ ነይሩና ካብኡ በርቲዕና ብድሕሪኡ እቲ ሃገር ትሪኦ ኣለኻ ክሳብ ሕጂ ኣብ ምንታይ በፂሖም ዘሎ ስለዚ እቲ መበገዝትኡ ኩዕሶ ምቕላዕ ኣይነበረን እንቋዕ ዝረኣናያ ክንብል ኢና ኸይድና ስለዚ ብኡ እንታይ መኽብለካ ብኡ ዘይተሓጎሰ ሰብ ኣይነበረን ኢንፋክት ስእልታት ኣለና ሕጂ ኣብቲ ንኣና ዝነበረ ፀወታ ሓንቲ ኮፍ መበሊት ባዶ ይነበረትን
ወቲ ሬኮርድ እቲ ሬኮርድ ስእልታት ኣለኒ ተዋሂቡኒ ኣሎ ግን ንስኻ ኸ እንድሕር ትውስኸለይ ኮይንካ ፅቡቅ ነይሩ እንታይ ዝብል ካልእኻ ቪድዮታት ዝረኸብክዎ ነይሩ ከማን ኣብ ዳላስ ክግበር ከሎ በዓል ገብረ ሂወት ኣብ ትክስታይ ኮይኖም ብጣዕሚ ዘሐጉሰካ ነይሩ ሕጂ ሲ እንታይ ክብል ደልየ ኣማኑኤል እንድሕር እስኻ ዝኽሪ ኣለካ ናቱ እዋን ከም ሓደ ኣድሚኒስትሬተር ኮይንካ ወይ ከም ሓደ ክስታይ ኮይንካ ሲ ኣብቲ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ዝነበረ ስምዒትከ ኣብቲ ፀዋታ ቴክኒካሊ ከመይ ነይሩ ከመይ ትረኽቦ ነርካ ኒሕ ከመይ ነይሩ
بحبش شو بدون بترديات من الله وين تحته سبورت عبد رايزو لون منسي كاب استغل عليه حدقنيا زغونه كنتات تشالنجين زغونه نغرات ስለዘጋጥሞ ካብኡ ፈልዩ ፕራዮሪቲኡ ሰሪዑ ክኸይድ ዝገብር ሓደ መሳርሒን ኣይ ሕብረተሰብ ሃገራዊ ስምዒቱ ድዩ ኣካላዊ ኩሉ ዓይነት ቻሌንጅ ስለዘጋጥሞ ካብ ብዙሕ ነገር ይቁጥቦ እዩ ዝያዳ ግን ኣነ ዝተባሃልኩሉ ካብ 80 ኣብዚ ከተማ ክመፅእ ከለኹ 500 ሰብ ኣይነበረና ብዋሽንግተን ዲሲ ሕጂ ልዕሊ 40,000 ኤርትራዊ ኣሎ ሽዑ ሓንቲ ብሓባር እዮም ዝፃወቱ ነይሮም ኩዕሶ ኢትዮጵያውያን ኤርትራውያን ኮይኖም ሕጂ እቶም ኢትዮጵያውያን ዓበይቲ ተፃወቲ እዮም መብዛሕትኦም ካልኦቶም ኤርትራውያን እውን ዓበይቲ ተፃወቲ እዮም ነይሮም በዓል ኣብራርያ በዓል ኣንኬል በዓል ፓውሎ ብዙሓት ኢትዮጵያውያን ስለዘይኮና ምስ ኢትዮጵያውያን ኣይንቕፅልን ኢና ናትና ጋንታ ንግበር ኢሎም እዮም ተፈልዮም ካብኦም ኤርትራ ትብል ጋንታ መስሪቶም ንሳቶም እቶም ኢትዮጵያ ከዓ ኢትዮጵያ ኢሎም መስሪቶም ኣብ ሓደ ሊግ ክፃወቱ ደልዮም ኤርትራ ትበሃል ዓዲ የላን ኢሉ እቲ ሊግ ከልኪልዎም ንኸይምዝገቡ ብዙሕ ፃዕሪ ገይሮም ግን ኤርትራ ከም ሃገር ተፈሊጣ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ምስኦም ክትጋጠም በቂዓ ክልተ ግዜ እውን ክልተ ቻምፒዮን ወሲዶም ኣብ 81 82 ሕጂ እንታይ ዘርእየካ እዚ ነቲ ሽዑ ዝነበረ መንእሰይ ኢትዮጵያውያን ከም ዘይኮኑ ተረዲኦም ናብታ ኤርትራ ትበሃል ጋንታ ዓሲሎም ማለት እዩ እዚ ዘለዎ ስምብራት ኣብ ሃገራውነት ናይ ሓደ ወዲ ሰብ ናቱ ናይ ሜንታል ኣተሓሳስብኡ ማይንድሰት ናቱ ዝቕይር ማለት እዩ ካብዚ ተበጊሱ እዩ ነቲ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካውን ሰዓቦ ብሓቂ ነቲ ፌደሬሽን ክምስረት ብዙሕ ተራ በዓል ሓጎስ ተፃወትዎ ነው ብዙሕ ተራ ኣሎ ሰብ ዘይገፈልጦ ግን ሃገራውነቱ ናቱ ናብራን ናቱ ህይወትን እንዳሰርዐ ክነብረሉ ዝኽእል መስርዕ እዩ ብሓቂ
ክብራብ ክንከይድ እሞ ክምለሰካ ማንኤል ክብራብ እቲ ናይ ሕጂ ዝበልዎ እሳቶም ናይ ብሓቂ ክስታይ እዩ ግን ኣብ ካናዳ ከዓ ፍሉይ ዝኾነ ቻለንጅ ነይሩኩም መጀመርያ እቲ ምስ ኣሜሪካ ዘይምልጋብ ካልእ ግዜ ከዓ ብጀካ እቲ ሆስት ክትገብሩ ከለኹም ብዙሕ ዕድል ኣይረኸብኩምን ሓንሳእ ክትመፁ ግን እቶም ትመፁ ዝነበርኩም ብጣዕሚ ፅቡቅ ጋንታ ሓያል ጋንታ ሒዝኩም ትኸዱ ሓደ እዋን ከማን ቶሮንቶ ዘይሰዓረት ቫንኩቨር ሰዓረት ኣሎ ይዝከረኒ ኣብ ላስ ቬጋስ ቫንኩቨር መን ኤርትራዊ ኣሎ ቫንኩቨር ዝብል ካብ ኣትላንታ ተበጊስካ ቀደም ናብ ቫንኩቨር ድሓረይ ከማን በዓል ላስ ቬጋስ ስዒረን ነይረን በዓል ኖርዌይ ክንደይ ታሪክ ገዲፉ እዚ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ሕጂ ናትካ ናይ ካናዳ ከመይ እቲ ምስታፍ ምሳና ናይ ንእሽተይ ግለፀልና እስከ
ኣብቲ መጀመርያ ቁሩብ ፀገማት ነርና ወረቐት ዘይነበሮም ገለ ፀወት ነይሮም ራሱ ኣይተወሰናት ፀወት ንኸይና ስቲል ግን ብዙሓት ንፉዓት መንእሰያት ኩሉ ግዜ ዋላ ቻምፒዮን ኣይንኹን በር ኩሉ ግዜ ስጋዓት መጨረሻ ንበፅሕ ነርና እታ ናይ ብፍላይ እታ ናይ ቶሮንቶ ተገብረት ዘገለፅካያ ክልተ ጋንታ እየን ነይረን ኣና ካብ ቶሮንቶ ክልተአን ሰሚ ፋይናል ነይረን ሕጂ ክልተአን ፋይናል ከኣትዋ እየን ዝብል ተስፋ ነርና ግን እንታይ ጌጋ ተገይሩ ኣክንዲ ሓንቲ ሓያል ተኸሊት ካብ ኣቕኒ ዝበል ባላንስ ጌርካ ክልተ ጋንታ ተገይሩ ዳሕራይ እውን ኣብቲ ናይ ኮች ዝነበረ ናይታ ሓንቲ ብፍላይ ነቲኦም ንፉዓት ፀዋት ሆፍ ኣቢሉ ንፋይናል ተኣማሚኑ ከኣቱ ጌጋታት ተገይሩ ግን ናይ ኩዕሶ ነገር ሓንቲ ጌም እያ ምስ ተሰዓርካ ትገብሮ ነገር የለን ግን ካብቲ ኩሉ ግን እቲ ከምቲ ኩዕሶ ኮምፒቲቲቭ ነይሩ ካብዚ ኩሉ ንላዕሊ ግን ትደሕለፍናዮ ኤክስፔሪንስ ኣብኡ ምስ ተፈለጥናዮ በዓል ማይ ገብሪ ሂወት ገለ ኩሉ ማዊና ንፋለጥ ናይ ላይፍ ታይም ክሳይ ዝገበርና እቲ ዝዓበየ እሱ እቲ ኣይ ሆፕ ባለካ ሙሽ ሕጂ እውን ከምኡ ከዓቢ ቁርብ ተዳኺሙ ነይሩ መጨረሻ ገፁ ሆፍሊ ድሕሪ ዚ ኮሮና እንደገና ኦርጋናይዝ ኮይኑ ሕጂ ኤንወይ ደቅና እዮም ዝፃወቱ ዘለዉ ሕጂ ናኻቶም ከዓ ከምኡ ከዓብየልና ተስፋ ንገብር
ሃይላይትስ ክነግረኩም ነቶም ተኸታተልትን ዋላ ንኣኻትኩም ከማ ዘይትፈልጥዎ ነገራት እንድሕር ኮይኑ እንድሕር ትፈልጥዎ ኮይንኩም ከዓ በዓልኩም ወስኽሉ ግን እንታይ ክብል ሓደ ሃይላይትስ ካብቲ ናይ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ዝገበሮ እንታይ እዩ መጀመርያ ኣብ ሳንዲያጎ ክግበር ከሎ እዋን ወራር ወያነ ከሎ እዩ እቲ ህዝቢ ኩሉ እቲ ደጋፊ ነቲ ኣታዊ ገንዘብ ኣብቲ ቶርናመንት ንሃገር ክነበርክቶ ብዝብል ዓብ ጉስጓሴ ተኻይዱ ነይሩ ከም ትዝክርዎ ሕጂ ንሃገር ተበርኪቱ ዓብ ተራ ተፃዊቱ እዩ እዚ ሕጂ ሓንቲ ክቡራት ኣጋይሽካ ዝመፁና ዝነበሩ ብጣዕሚ ከም በዓል ክብሮም ክፍሎም ኣርኣያ ከም በዓል በርሄ ፓታታ ገዲል እዞም ኩልያቶም መፂኦም ነይሮም ሃይላይት ኣለና ነዊሕ እዚ እንድሕር ክንዛረቦ ኮይና ሰዓታት የድልየና እዩ ሕጂ ንእሽተይ ስኻትኩም ትዝክርዎ ግዜ እንዳሓፀረና ስለ ዝኸይድ ዘሎ 10 ደቂቕ እንዲ ዘለና ትዝክርዎ ነገራት እንድሕር ኣሎ ባባ ገብረ ሂወት ክጅምር እየ ድሓረይ ኣማንኤል ድሓረይ ክብረኣብ ትዝክርዎ ንኣኻትኩም ዓብ መዘከርታ ዝገበረልኩም ኣብዚ ናይ ሰሜን ኣሜሪካ ናይ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ክትዛረቡ ዕድል ይሂበኩም ኣለኹ
እሺ ሓንቲ ዝዝክራ እንታይ ኣላ ኣብ ኣትላንታ ተገብረሉ ግዜ ኣብ እስራድዩ ገለ ኣምባሳደር ግርማ ስመሮም ንዓበይቲ ዘይተፃወቱና ኢሉኒ ሕጂ ሓራይ ሞ እንታይ ኣለዎ ኢልና ንዓኹስቶ ኢና ብርሕ ዝበሉ ብሓደ ኣኪብና ጋንታ ሰሪሕና ናይ ዋሽንግቶን ከዓ ከምኡ ኣጋጣሚ ማዕረ ወፂና ማዕረ ምስ ወፃና ንኺድ ከምኡ ኢልና ተባሂሉ ብሪጎር ክኸውን ኣለዎ ተባሂሉ ሓራይ እምበኣርቶም 5 ዝሃርሙ ተቐሪቦም ሓደ ካብኣቶም ኣምባሳደር ግርማ እዩ ነይሩ ካብ ትሪቡና ኩሉ ሰብ መፅዩ ኣምባሳደር ሪጎር ክሃርም እዩ ተባሂሉ ቦርቴረሲ ዓቕሉ ፀቢቦ ننفسه قرماون من قصة سماء وارسو ننفسه قرما نفعو تساعتاي يقول خصحتها كلني تنكفها بلوها شر كذا نبورتيرس فرق ساعات وسيدها اللغة تمصو تنكف تراي بلوها انتاي ما هنا اي تردأنا إذا كل سبب لكان وام بصدر يقول سحيتو قال مزاربي تكوين انيرا نسوون بتعامل تحقيسو تنقرات هزبسي انتاي ما هو لكان كلها بتستديم متي زي رساني
صبوتي بتعمي صبوتي ما ذكرتها أمانيل ناتكا خنتها لك تقولوا
بتعمي زي ساعات صبوتي تورنمنت تغايدا زولا بسمانيان شو مونتن تقبرتنا هيستن تورنمنت تذكرى مغنيات من سمعت وارسو بغرين ناي دالاس كوتش كوينو أبرارا كواشنطن دي سي ناي واشنطن دي سي كوتش كوينو كلتا بتعمل زفاتو عروخ فاينال دالاس ان واشنطن بسيحن هزبز نبرت ستاديوم قال نجريو خلتيهم ناي قدم ناي اسمرا سمعيتهم كريكا يبهالو نيروم unfortunately دالاس تسعيرا واشنطن دي سي عباي وانشا حزام سياها زيا نايو حكي بسبورت عابيوم بسبورت زفاقورو عروخ زعقو خلو خجارو خلو سلنفولتهم مسكيناي بخري من سمعت وارسو زي عباي تاريخ قديفو
بتعمي صبو مساحاتي واشنطن دالاسن كم زناي فوتبول امريكا خوينو مالتي رايفال فتيرو قلنا بحكي وكلتيهم معناه بتعمي زدنقهم سبات يوم نوت اونلي تتصاوت اجري جن بتعمي عبي تاريخ زقدفوا بتاريخ إيرترا سلازخونو كمسغنو يقبوهم كبراب نابخا خيد هجخا
اوكي تسواني كابتن كان ذكرن تي 9 شوعاتن دول كابتن تاع التورنمنت تغير فيدريشن ويتغانتاون مع ገንዘብ ይናገርና ሽو حجري يو بقى ده حيلو تتصاوت حزنا دخلنا ገንዘብ شكل يلن قصعنا تبعيلو ግን تورنا ويانا قاتيو ማለት 9 مونتن لك عمتناي قبريو تعد خيلو ندورو تناي مدار قبومو بخاب 30 14 هون اكزاكتلي ذكروا اللي حجي بمولونتي ناي مكلخالها قري توافي مالتي الجنزب بدحريها هاتا تعباي تقبرتها بساندي يقول تصبيو مع حزب زنورو تي دغار ما كافتا ارينا عينتي ذكروا جو مساعدنا بربعه حمو شبار غيرهم ينو تنا ناسبتو دوغيد مت فريحه سوبرفايزر عتيو سواي متسني قال دحراي ساعه 10 حدا مسمت اوفر حجفت لاين قبرك الله هاتسب كاسا بيرا غزا مي خمونيتي بصحكاني مچرشا والله حجي ان ويت وداتو خان تصبو على خلاي وطول حتى قبرت لي على محمد عبد الله جوكير كلهم لايك ادونا اول تايمرز تصوت تجرانيرا
هو اب ساندياغو
حجي بيوترينا مالتي تصوت قدم دير كما لهم ماشنا خلنا
بتعمي صبو يا مذكرت اجركم
درس اخوا اني واي بعد يوم فوتو على هاي لستا كغطام خروخو ما اكون اني واي انا ترايز ساعتهم زياده كوال على الفوتو كلهم خلي غن اني واي I hope تي
لا دونا صبو لكم والله بحصيرو ግን አነ እንታይ ክብል እዚኣ ሕቶን መልስና ገበርና ዘረባ ከም ዲስካሽን እንዲዩ ካልኦት ሰባት ብዙሓት ደበርከቱ ነይሮም ከዓ ክርስዑ የብሎምን ከም በዓል ወልዲኖ ኣብዳላስ ነበረ እንዳኸደ ቪድዮታት ይቀድሕ ነይሩ ጂሚ ዝበሃል መንእሰይ ነይሩና ብሳን ሆዜ ወሪራ ምሽክናይ حما أقاتيمو anyways يوم كلهم حنت كمان من إسي قال نيراتنا من السودا كعصوت كسيت قبل نيرات ذكرها كبراب تخون هجي انت أخذ لكم بزوح تاريخي تقريفو 3 عمد جوكا خونن 3 انقل عمد يخيدو زلو حجي كان انت يخبل أبسان هوزي تذكروا عند حركم يكون مقانتا واشنطن دي سي كتسأر كلايان يبركون قنت سبيلوني حويكا يتصاوت سلازنا أب حدا ريستورانت مسكرو سعو جلسي تي بوتا نتحت وريقو جلس بالسميع حجي بوليسيات كام مسيهم كلبي جيروم جلك سايقبنيرم فيديوهات كمان رينيره حجي سي بزعبو مذكرت هذا اللي وصل نمود تبع جيرنا خنزاز ماسي زارف سن نما تعمدنا نصنت لازم برات يذكر هذا اللي قبري هو تلك مذكرتناتو
انا
أمانين
أنا وناين وركول جن أبتو هوتيل تبورم كولابس جيرو يلو
كولابس جيرو ووريه فيديو سيلي
مايك أب ساندي ويكون أب سان هوزي
91 هو
تو هوتيل نبرك ستاجيرو
ناتا لهن سان هوزي لهن
هو مو سايز ولا كذا لهم
اب سان هوزي معات حزبي نيرو حجي موزيقኛ መጪው ነበረ الامين
هو
الامين عبد اللطيف حجي እንታይ ኮይኑ ተጀሚሩ ማለት እዩ ትልሂት ተጀሚሩ ጅምር ምሰበለ ዓቃቃቂሉ ኣብ ኣኸላን ታሕቲ ኸይዳታ ስቴጅ ብምልእታ ኣብ ኣኸላን ሕጂ እንታይ ኢሉ ሰብ እዚ ኤርትኩዌክ መፂኡ ኣብ ካሊፎርኒያ ኤርትኩዌክ መፂኡ ዝባል ኤርትኩዌክ መፂኡ ተባሂሉ ሓደ ክልተ ሴኩሪቲ ዝነበሩ ሒዞም ከምዚ ናይ ዓዲ ክገብሩ እንዲኦም ነቲ ሴሌብሪቲ አልአሚን ናብኡ ኸይዶም ከምዚ ደሊኦም ከይቀትሎ ወይ ንዑዝ ደለዩ ሰብ ዋጭዋጭ ኢላ እታ ነገር ተባላሽያ ካብኡ እውን ቀፂልና ክላባት ርኢናስ ክንቅፅሎ ኣብ መንጎ ኣይከኣልናን በኣ ተወዲኣ ማለት እዩ
ብጣዕሚ ፅቡቅ እዚኣ መዘከርታ ንምንታይ መምህር አልአሚን ከማን ምሳና ኣብዚ ዓብ ተራ ይፃወት ነይሩ ኣብዚ ኮሚኒቲ ናትና ሕጂ ብጣዕሚ መዓት እዩ ዘሎ ኣይትውድኦን ኢኻ ብ4 ደቂቕ ግን እዚኣ ናይ ፌስቲቫል መዘከርታ ስለ ዝኾነት እንታይ ይብለኩም ከም ለበዋን ከም ሕቶን እዩ ተመሊስና ከም ብሓድሽ ናይ ኩዕሶ እግሪ ዝተገብረ እዚ ታሪክ ኣብዚ ዓዲ ከመይ ጌርና ፆሚቕና ኩሉ ግዜ በብተራ እናገበርና ክንዛረበሉ ከዕድመኩም እየ ምስ ካልኦት ኮይና ክንሰርሐሉ ኢና እዚ ነዚ ዝሃብኩምና ብጣዕሚ የመስግነኩም ክብረኣብ ካብ ስራሕካ ኳሊፌካ ብጣዕሚ የመስግነካ ኣማን ኣኖ ዩር ኦልዌይስ ሬዲ ኢኻ
ከም ዝዛረብ ምኾኑ ነገር መገደይ ማይክ ንዓኻ ብጣዕሚ ከመስግነካ ፈቱ ከምዚ ጌርካ ደረኸብካና ኣይኖ ኩሉ ግዜ ኣብ ሶሻል ሚድያ ፈሎ ዝገብረካ ኢና ብዛዕባ ዘለካ ስፖርት ሃገራዊ ወፃኢ ዘለካ ብጣዕሚ I would like to say thank you
ብጣዕሚ የመስግነካ ሓንቲ ትካል ንጅምር ኣለና ኤሪ ኢንተርናሽናል ስፖርት ንኩላትና ትነጥፍ መሳርሒት ክትከውን ኢልና ንገብራ ዘለና ስለ ዝኾነት ሃገራዊ መስመር ሒዛ ትኸይድ ኣብኡ ክትሓበሩና ንላቦ ማለት እዩ ካልእ ባባ ትብረ ህይወት ትብሎ ነገራት እንሕር ኣሎ ናይ መወዳእታ ኺንት
እወ ኣቐዲመ ማይክ በቲ ኩሉ ትገብሮ ዘለኻ ፃዕሪ ዓብ ምስጋና ግባእካ ከምኡ ከዓ ጋንታ ኣትላንታ ዘለው ዋዕላቲ ህዝቢ እውን ካብ ቀደም ጀሚሩ ዝነበረ ዘይሕለል ሰብ እዩ ንሕና ምስ ገደፍናዮ እቲ ናይ ንኣሽቱ ናይ ዓበይቲ ዘይንጅምር ኢሎም ረቢሾም ጀሚርና ከዓ ናይ ዓበይቲ ክሳብ ሕጂ እውን ትኸይድ ኣላ ሕጂ እውን ኔክስት ማንስ ኣብ ቻርሎት ኖርስ ካሮላይና ኣለና ሕጂ ነዞም ሰባት እዚኦም ከመስግኖም ይደሊ ብጣዕሚ ድሓር እውን ዝኾነ ይኹን ኩዕሶ ዝመፅእ ከምዚ ንኣብነት ፋንድሬይዚን ናይ በኮረፅን ተገይሩ ነይሩ ብዳላስ
ክንዛረበላ ኢና ግዜ ትኸደና ኣላ ኣማኒኤል ቻው በልዎም ንኩልኻትኩም ብጣዕሚ የመስግነኩም ብጣዕሚ የመስግነኩም ክትቁረፀና All right,
okay, bye. Goodbye. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all festival goers, we're going to do it in English. We might mix in some Tigrinya in there once in a while, but mostly in English. And we're delighted to have two amazing people here, Eritreans who've done so much for our track and field program in Eritrea. Our first guest is Johannes Debesai, who probably most people remember from way back in 2000 and before, very active in our community. Also one of the people who was responsible for starting EAAA, Eritrean American Athletics Association, which played a huge role in developing a stronger program back home in Eritrea. Johannes, welcome. And then I'm going to introduce to Marhawi Kaflazgi. As you know, he's the kind of Eritrean that most people would probably don't know much about, but is doing so much underground, did so much work with his brother Meb Kaflazgi, but also did a lot for track and field here in America, and is also an agent, UCLA grad, and just an amazing young man who's doing so much. And I know he has a couple of athletes in the Olympics in Tokyo. And so with that, I want to say, you two, we'll start off with Joni. Introduce yourselves. Who's Joni?
Don't like to talk about, but start with the question that we don't like. So just to focus it and narrow it down. So I think with athletics, Eritrean American Athletics, we formed Eritrean American Athletics Association in 2001. So, you know, one of the people that started EAAA, I would say. And beside that, after we finished EAAA, I think I went for my master's and PhD. So I got my PhD in 2019. That's in a doctorate in healthcare management. And then I did a little bit of research. Right now, we're just trying to revive EAAA to get it back where we can contribute more to what we have done in the past days. So I would just restrict my my introduction to EAAA, I would say, but you know, that's.
Well, thank you very much. And Meb, I mean Merhawi, I keep calling you Meb. I don't know, you know, because you brought Meb. You know, you never came on. Meb comes in all the time. You send me Meb all the time on these kinds of events. So now it's your turn. So Merhawi, tell me a little bit about who's Merhawi. Talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. And it's great to be here with Dr. Johannes. And it's okay if you call me Meb. You know, we look alike, we sound alike, we just don't run alike. So that's where the resemblance ends. But, you know, my name is Merhawi Kaflezgi, and I am known as Meb Rahatom's younger brother. And I have the honor of representing Meb and several different athletes. I remember when EAAA was started, I was probably a junior in college, and it was just so exciting, all right? Because it was just people that were passionate about the sport and wanting to give back. And it's exciting to hear that there's going to be a revival of the program and the organization, because I really do think, you know, this was virtual times before the Zooms, you know, where people could connect, even though they were in different parts of the country and even different parts of the world. So nowadays we have more technology so we can see each other, not just email or text, email or phone calls. So this is a very exciting conversation. And ultimately, I think we all agree there's so much potential in running in Eritrea and the diaspora, Eritreans in the diaspora, right? And so anything that we can do to encourage that and support those athletes, I think is a good investment, not just financially, but also support. So I'm excited to be part of this conversation, and thanks for having me.
Oh, fantastic. So what we're going to do is now, let's go back a little, rewind back a little bit to the history of track and field in Eritrea. As far as I know, based on my research, in the 1990s, we attempted some things with, I remember our first female runner in Greece also, she was training. And then after that, you know, the early stages of track and field for Eritrea always seemed very, we never had a history of it, to say the least. So then EAAA came in. Meb was also starting to rise up as an athlete in the international community. Johannes, tell me, how did your idea to create EAAA come about?
So the idea was, it started from Sydney Olympics in 2001. That was the first time that Eritrea got to the Olympics. And I was in the Air Force in Mississippi at that time. I vividly remember everything. It's just heart-taking to see the flag waving. So 3 runners represented Eritrea at that time, and Meb represented the US. So we were represented by 4 people, and that's a great honor for us. And just the next day, I went to run a 5K. So just to honor that, I just taken my heart. And then with that, I said we need to form some kind of organization. Since we are already in the Olympics, we need to do something to come together so that we can contribute to Eritrean athletics. So with that, reached out to Meb and Bolota, and then also high school runners, including Nathaniel from Texas and Abraham from Ohio. And then we have other runners from Atlanta. Also, we had Abraham and Negisti. So we were able to reach out all the high school and college runners, and we met in Atlanta, and then we sat together, and then everybody was positive. Everybody was positive, so we decided to form an association. We called it EAAA, Eritrean American Athletics Association. So our start was the Sydney Olympics, would say.
That's awesome, because I recall when that happened, it was in Atlanta. I was actually there working with the Sports Federation, And I remember you guys gathering together because you had asked me to find a place for you guys and that kind of thing. But it's just amazing how that turned into something bigger. And we'll talk about that. And so Marhawi, let's talk a little bit about your, your association with EAAA and whatever you're doing throughout the time that EAAA was being formed.
Yeah, like Dr. Johannes said, Sydney was a very important point in the milestone and history of Eritrean sports, and especially track and field. And when Meb was there, his first Olympic Games, and for Meb, when he had to decide who to represent as a professional athlete, international athlete, it was a very difficult decision for him. Some people in our family were saying, look, you have a chance to be the first Olympian for Eritrea. And some people in our family were saying, hey, you know what? The United States is where you've spent the majority of your time. So it was a very difficult decision for Meb. He made the decision. He listened to his heart, which is what my mom advised him to do. And he made a great decision that allowed him to represent both countries, his roots and where he is now. But when we were in Sydney, I was fortunate enough, I think I was a sophomore in college, to be in Sydney with Meb and my brother Futsal, my oldest brother, who started the running in our family, and my parents, mom and dad. And we got to meet the Eritrean runners. And we spent the majority of our time with them, just having tea. And seriously, as a young athlete, I said, oh my goodness, if there's any way I can help these athletes, I would love to, because not everybody had the opportunities that Meb had. They all had the talent, or even more talent. So that is when my idea about working with runners, and this is way before I started representing Meb, that's when my idea about working with runners developed. And getting to meet Jonas Kifle, Nebiat Haptemariam, for example. And it was just like, man, this is off to a really good start. And the community in Sydney, in all of Australia, the Eritrean community, they treated these athletes like the royalty that they are. It was really great to see. And so, it's just a lot of passion. When you feel like you're represented, there's just a lot of passion that comes in. And so seeing that firsthand, I was just like, okay, what can I do to help? And but EAAA, I think, is one of those things that brought everybody together. Everybody probably had these ideas separately, and EAAA was like, okay, let's put this all together. I was young, but I was definitely observing everything that EAAA was doing from a distance.